Mayor Pro Tem Bob Cannis.
Here.
Commissioner Tom Long.
Here.
Commissioner Stu Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Joe DeLuca.
Here.
Commissioner Al Ramirez.
Present.
Commissioner Luke Stempien.
Here.
City Manager Craig Gordon.
Here.
Fire Chief Keith Klobuchar.
Yes.
And Matron Commercial Planner Caitlin Davis. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Do we have any additions or changes to the agenda? Great. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the written.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Approval of consent agenda items. Any questions for Craig?
I move to approve the consent agenda, item, including payment of $198,019.95.
Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, roll call please.
Davis.
Yes.
Cannis.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Stempien.
Yes.
Yaki.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're gonna have two, excuse me, two different times for citizens from the floor, and most of you have heard me say this before. So we're gonna have a 3-minute timer, and if you need a little bit more time to finish your thought, I'll be happy to allow you to do that. Please direct any questions or comments to me. This is not a dialogue. Unlike what we just did, and I'm glad most all of you were here when we did question and answer, this is a situation where we want to hear what you have to say. If there is a question that we could answer very briefly, something I could just, in a sentence or two, say something. But most questions, we're going to need to have you contact us later. I may direct you to see the city manager to answer a question. But we really want to hear what you have to say. So, starting with that, Caitlin, did you want to make some statements?
Just following up from our workshop that we did at 6, some of the major high notes as part of that was just clarification of what the NIA was. And so it is an entity that would be established that would essentially capture a portion of the county and city components in which it wouldn't change the percentage of taxation. It's not a new tax. It is diverting funds that would go locally to other components to be locally reinvested in a different way. Some of the other high points that we specifically talked about is the proposed membership of the NIA commission. And so the intention is to have 7 members. Memberships of those can be business owners in the NIA. They could be property owners. At least one has to be a resident within the NIA, or at least within a half mile of the NIA. Otherwise, that's up for the city commission to choose who the qualified individuals are. So our tentative timeline for this project is December 2nd would be when we would vote on if we are going to establish one or not establish one. We would have applications ready by December 15th for members of the public to put their name in the ring. Then at our January 2nd meeting, so at least a month to accept applications, the city commission would receive all applications, and then you would evaluate who is the most qualified or desirable, whatever combination that is, to be on that board. So you could say we want at least 4 of those people to be residents. 3 can be business owners or property owners. So that's the tentative timeline on that membership component. I didn't write down a lot of the notes during the meeting because I just responded to the questions, so I apologize for that. But if anyone did have additional questions or comments, this is the time where you could comment on that for your board discussion, since we're not holding a public hearing on the NIA.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to come up and speak?
Same. Is this on NIA?
On anything.
Oh,
Including the NIA.
including NIA. No.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Then next, we're going to go to our guest speaker, who is going to be our county commissioner, Dean Kemp.
Thank you very much, Mayor. A couple of things, if I could, right off the bat, I wanted to respond or maybe answer a couple of the questions that I heard during the meeting, and I didn't want to chime in there because Tom did such an eloquent job at moderating that, and I wanted the folks here to have all the time. But to first respond to Mr. Deitch's question about kind of the taxes, I think it was the very first question that was asked. There's three ways that your taxes, your home taxes can be raised, right? There's the first one, the one that we're most common with, is that it can be raised every year by the rate of inflation, 5%, whichever's less. So if the rate of inflation this year is 3.5%, then that's what your taxes are going up. If the rate of inflation is 6%, it's capped at 5%. So that's where when you own a home, that's the way it works in Michigan. The second way is by a vote of the people. We talked about some special assessments in here tonight, some things like that. The only way that other than that rate of inflation or 5%, that your taxes can be raised are by a vote of the people. There is a third way, which is a bit obscure, but we've actually had this. We kind of had both in the same realm here in Emily City, which was really unusual. But that is, the drain commissioner is the only elected official that has the right to raise your taxes without a vote of the people. Most people don't know that, realize that, but it happened here in Emily City with the Bigelow Drain years ago. The drain commissioner came in and did a project and assessed people's taxes. We have 2 drainage districts in Emily City. So that was a pretty heavy burden on the people in the southern drainage district. There was a petition filed, and it went on the ballot to have an election to pay that off and assess everyone in the city that drainage tax, if you will. So that's a very unusual situation, but it did happen here in the city. The second thing I guess I'd like to kind of touch on, and you know, this is also another unusual thing, because I started as a county commissioner in 2001, and the county commission has never approved a TIF since I've been on. I'm not saying it was just me, but they've not approved a TIF in that time frame. So 25 years, they've not approved a TIF. TIF being a tax increment financing, which is what a NIA is. So a DDA is a TIF, a NIA is a TIF. They're all tax increment financing. All that statute is spelled out in Lansing. We have no control over that. Just like, you know, I've had people say to me, well, you know, we want to elect the people. We want the people to elect the people that serve on this NIA board. And that's wonderful, except we can't do it, right? State statute determines how this board determines who's going to be on that board. And that's nothing anybody here did, nothing anybody in the county did. We got to play by the cards Lansing deals us. There was 2 times in our county that I can recall that we did use a tax program that was set up by the state. It actually wasn't a TIF, to do some economic development in happened to be in our area or in my district, and that both of them took place in Almont. One was for the family farm and home when they came in, and the other one was for Vinkier's department store. And as you recall, they were both abandoned buildings, or they were empty buildings, not abandoned, they were empty buildings. They've been empty for quite a while. And in order to get those folks to invest and put those businesses in there, we entered into a program, the county and Elmont Village, to freeze those taxes for 5 years. And then after 5 years, those taxes would become uncapped, and that's exactly what happened. But those are the only 2 times that I can remember that the county in the last 25 years has agreed to a plan like this. So one of the big questions I've gotten, or have been getting, is, well, why would the county agree to this? And as I think probably you all know, but there was once the city put its interest in, that they were interested in having a TIF, or in the form of an NIA, there was a clock that started at some point And there was a 30-day window where the county had the opportunity to object to participating in this plan. So if we didn't object, then we were giving our blessing, so to speak. The city manager and the Lapeer Economic Development Coordinator came over, gave a nice presentation to the board, explained the whole thing. And then we went through, at the last meeting we had that was still in the 30-day window, I brought it up to my fellow commissioners again, said, guys, do we want to put this on the agenda? Do we want to talk about it? And they were all comfortable with it. And I don't know, can you put that slide, that up on the board or not?
This one's a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got some extra ones here, and I'll maybe,
I gotta move, this is gonna go right in my eyes.
somebody can pass some of those around up there. So I had this question, and I think it's a very valid question. And Mr. Gass brought up the question, he's still back there, about how much money this is gonna cost the county and what's that gonna look like. This is a 2024, what you have with this piece of paper, I think you gentlemen all have a copy. This is a copy of all of the TIFs in Lapeer County and the amount of money that they generate for that community. So the top is just a straight overview. You see the village of North Branch, I think that's a DDA. Metamora is a DDA. The entire village of Metamora is within their DDA district. Columbiaville, Otter Lake, Clifford, Emily City, Village of Dryden, City of Lapeer, and Village of Elmont. City of Lapeer, I think, has, oh, it's down here, it's right below. So they have a City of Lapeer TIF 1, TIF 2, TIF 3, DDA, expanded DDA East, and expanded DDA West, and the Lapeer Development Fund Authority. So the City of Lapeer has 7 DDAs, or 7 TIFs, I should say. And so there's a couple of things that really grind me over the years. Number one is that the City of Lapeer has been so successful at taking advantage of these programs, and that we have over here. The second thing is that the City of Lapeer tends to capture on all taxes, all tax increase. Emily City, except for a very short period of time, has been very good at not capturing on the extra voted taxes. What I mean by that is we have, when it comes to the county, we have a is it on here? I guess it's not. It's 3.6% general fund tax for the county. That's the percentage of the tax that goes to the county. We also have a number of extra voted taxes. So we have veterans, seniors, law enforcement and prosecutor. We have Suncrest, I'm missing a few of them. And those are all the extra voted. Lapeer County EMS is an extra voted millage. If the city of Emily City would have come with this plan and said, hey, we want to capture everything, that would have been a non-starter. It would have been shut down the day it got to us. And I'll tell you, I really think that's because capturing those taxes is incredibly unethical. It's legal, but in my opinion, it's incredibly unethical. If Al votes for money for the seniors, that money should go to the seniors. If Stu votes for money for the veterans, that money should go to the veterans. So the city agreed that they would not capture any of the extra voted. And I will tell you, to just kind of back up a little bit, Emily City never captured the DDA, which is another tip. The DDA never captured the extra voted. There, a couple of years ago, they decided, through the direction of their DDA director, that they should capture the extra voted. My opinion, that was not a good decision. I don't know if they had all the facts, or they were presented with all the facts. Earlier, I guess, this year, before this was even kind of talked about seriously, I came to the Emily City DDA and asked them not to capture on the extra voted. gave them what I consider to be a fair picture of why they shouldn't capture on those extra voted, and they voted not to. So in my opinion, they did the exact right thing. It used to be that the county actually had a standing motion that we would not act on any economic development in any municipality that captured extra voted. That's kind of since gone by the wayside, but anyways, that's, I feel very strongly about the extra voting. And Emily City has historically done the right thing and not captured that. So, when we talk about why would the county of Lapeer want to give up some of its money? First off, very proud to say, the county of Lapeer is the third lowest tax county in the state of Michigan. We have maintained that, I think, throughout my 20-some years at the county, and I think that's personally a good thing, because I don't like taxes any more than the next person does. But in this case, and in a few of these cases, I think the county believes that the investment that they're making in the city of Emily City, given the potential for some new development in the city and upgrading some of the current infrastructure, and I use that extremely broadly, within the city, it is a really good investment. And as that tax base develops, the extra voted will still receive the increase. So if we have a veterans millage, as the tax base for this area grows with new development, new commercial, whatever the case may be, that extra voted millage will grow directly with the increase in the taxable value. So the county is going to see some reach, and it's not just all a one-way street on that. But more importantly, I think that somewhere down the road, these things sunset, or they're supposed to sunset. This one happens to be 30 years, which again is arbitrary by state statute. And when that happens, then everything goes back to normal, and that portion would go back to the county, arguably now developed and at a much higher rate than a vacant field or a 425 that the city just entered into, that sort of thing. So I think there's some real valid reasonings why the county would be interested in partnering with the city on this program, and giving up some of its tax, a small tax percentage. But more importantly, I think the county is interested in developing our communities. I mean, we're all part of this. We're all in it together. And, we want to see Emily City do well. We want to see Almont do well. We want to see, all the communities do well. And we think that we're in a position right now. The county is very financially solid. We have a very good fund balance. We have a very good, our budget's well under control, and we feel that this is something that we can do. We looked at what the cost to the county is going to be. Personally, I can't help but look at that $554,000 annually that goes to the city of Lapeer, and $110,000 that comes back to the city of Emily City. And this is the district I represent. This is, so to speak, the team that I back for. And so that's my personal interest in getting that a little more equitable with the city of Lapeer. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions, or maybe if I answered any questions, or, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ask them, can I accept any questions?
We can do a few, yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Ian, I would like to address the Bigelow drain, since you had brought Bigelow drain up. You're saying taxpayers, I believe you said it was on ballot, and we voted to have it put on. Am I correct?
originally.
You said it was an odd thing that
It's an odd
happened.
thing because originally it was an assessment by the drain commissioner,
Okay.
so we were gonna pay it. And then we voted to split it over a wider.
Okay, so the taxpayers paid for Bigelow Drain. Bigelow Drain runs down South Almont Avenue and up Borland Road, and it kind of dead ends at the back of Stoltz property. I came home and I watched the installation of Bigelow Drain. That's actually the business that I used to be in. And they were making weep pipes so it would draw water in. They were pulling the rubbers off the joint and they were putting fabric on so it would weep water. I can't help but ask you why the only person I feel this Bigelow Drain's benefited would be the fairgrounds property at this point. Unless you can tell me different and tell me that some drains are tied in, there's infrastructure already over there, water main and storm sewer, that taxpayers have paid for. So I'm not understanding the capture of money to increase this when already what we've had, it seems like transparency even on the Bigelow Drain thing, nobody's benefited from it. Just one property has truly benefited from Bigelow Drain.
Well, first off, Dennis, I would say that's absolutely not true.
Okay.
Everybody,
Well, we all-
I mean, we all remember, I'm old enough, you're old enough, we
Yeah.
all remember the lake out in Stoltz, in the middle of Stoltz.
I remember pulling vehicles in and out of your parking lot, for sure.
Absolutely,
100%.
absolutely. I can tell you that what has benefited the fairgrounds for drainage is that we tiled the entire fairgrounds since then.
Okay.
But there were lots of problems. The fairgrounds did not,
I'm not insinuating.
we had nothing to do with the Bigelow Drain getting developed or not developed. We benefited from the Bigelow Drain due to our proximity and the fact that the drain goes through our property, just like everybody that is, has
Yeah.
property in proximity.
My question would be, how did it come about, the Bigelow Drain, and
Okay,
with,
you know what, this is.
I don't know what.
Hold
yeah.
on, point of order. This is nothing having to do with what we're talking about. So actually, I'm gonna move on.
Let me just say one thing. Dennis, I would be more than happy to meet with you at any given time. I'll do the same thing. I'll buy the coffee, and I would be happy to sit down and chat with you about it.
Cool.
I'm available anytime except for 2 Thursdays out of the month.
okay, that sounds good.
All right, any other questions?
I do have a question. Go ahead. I know you brought up Elmont quite a few times. So the NIA and Elmont, I mean, I don't know if they have one or not, but and they don't. Did they turn it down or was it ever proposed? It never was proposed, so that's.
Okay,
Okay.
so the thing about, when I bring up Elmont, Elmont doesn't have an NIA. I don't think they've ever had an NIA proposed in Elmont. They have a DDA, which is a TIF. They're all TIFs, right? They're all tax increment financing. And, that does bring up a good point though, because one thing I think that was missed is that the hammer in this, so to speak, just like in the DDA, just like in TIF, is that this board, or whoever are the people that are sitting up here that are your elected officials, at any given time, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they can vote to opt out of this. So they can get out of this anytime they want to get out of this.
Out of a NIA.
Out of any TIF.
Oh,
Yep.
that was not said.
That's
Thank you.
never been
That's
said.
not been
Thank
said.
you.
So thank you for bringing up the element situation.
Yeah, I just wondered if they had one because, I mean, they seem to be up and coming more so than Elm City, not to, I just noticed that they got a lot of new stuff and it seemed like they would jumped on board if they thought it was a good idea.
To Tom's point that he brought up earlier, this happened in Elmont when I was the interim village manager down there. The DDA down in Elmont and the village council went like this. They were really at odds. They were really fighting. And to their credit, there was a lot of talk about the village council ending the DDA, which they have every right to do. And to their credit, they got together, the two boards, and they sat down, they talked out their differences, they focused on a direction, and they moved forward in that direction. So, that is kind of the ultimate hammer, if you will, that the city council, regardless of who the nameplates are, that the city council has over a TIF.
Ian, really quick, in 2019 regarding Elmont creating their TIF district, you were quoted in the newspaper saying that the commission would not support something like this. And then again, at the May DDA meeting, you also said that county commission would not support the creation of the TIF district. And now you're telling me that they are. I just looked from March until June, which would have been in that 30-day period, I don't see the TIF district for Imlay City being on the city commission agenda. Did that actually happen?
City commission or county commission?
County commission, I apologize.
Yes, it did. I believe
I just-
you folks were on the agenda. I can't tell you if it was an actual agenda item or not. It would have come up twice. The first time would have been when they came over and did the initial, request, if you will, or orientation with the county commission
Likely in March.
in March.
Yes.
The
And then
master
the-
plan was proposed March 20th. The next meeting would have been the 27th of the county.
I don't remember when it
I'm
was, to
just-
be honest with you. The
I'm
second
looking at
time
it.
was before the 30-day elapsed. I did bring it up to the county commission. I don't think it was an agenda item to ask them if there was anybody who wanted to object, and no one did. Therefore, you know, they approved it by not objecting to it, if you will. And to go to your other thing, I agree. I stood up here and said tonight, I have never been in favor, if you will, of TIFs. And by that, I mean across the board. DDAs, NIAs, they're all basically, there's industrial TIFs, there's all kinds of TIFs. And the real reason was because just about every TIF used to capture the extra voted. And we fought and fought, and I fought, and Craig will tell you, because he was there, I fought darn hard in the county to get every single municipality on board without paying, or without capturing on the extra voted. And and we accomplished that. Everybody, including Lapeer DDA, did not capture. And just before I left in 2000, within 3 or 4 months or something like that of me leaving, the Lapeer DDA came over and said, oh, guess what? We're gonna capture them all extra voted. And that board continued to fight. Now, the board changed. And that fight is I think that sentiment is still there, but it's not what it used to be. And, I guess, in my opinion now, the ability this TIF has, with the city opting out of the extra voted, to develop the city for the benefit of the citizens outweighs the amount of money that the county is going to basically give up to help that, to make that happen.
But you can't say for sure that that's the sentiment of all of the county commissioners, because it has not been discussed as a agenda item.
I can
It's
say,
not
I
been voted
can
on.
say that there's not a county commissioner that objects to the NIA being created.
But you said at the May DDA meeting that they were opposing it.
They are not opposing it. I don't know how
I
many third
myself
of
sat
us.
there and listened to you say it.
Say what?
That if the DDA, you would support the NIA creation if the DDA released the captures on the special millages, even though the commission, the county commission, was against supporting the TIF.
Oh, okay, yeah, I follow you now. You're absolutely right, and I did say that. And I truly believe that, and I held true to that. I thought there would be county commissioners that would object to this. I really did. And at that time, when I said that, I would have bet $100 bill that there would have been commissioners that would have objected to it. I think that when your city manager and your Lapeer Economic Development Coordinator came to the county, they did an excellent job at laying out the plan for the county commissioners as to what it was going to look like. I think I also had some conversation with a couple of the commissioners that I felt were going to potentially object to it, and they also saw how this was going to benefit the community. So, but you're right, I did think that I'd have bet $100 that was not gonna be the way it looked, that there would have been objection.
Okay, I was
And
just
there
wondering,
was.
because I didn't see it on the agenda for any of the county meetings, so I was just wanting clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Department Head Chief Colcar.
Public, our fire chief. A couple things, I want to break this up in 2 parts. Jeff just got back, Captain Jeff Rousseau just got back from Pierce, where we're building the new truck. And he's gonna go ahead and share the progress on that, and give you guys an update. So I'm gonna turn it over to him, and then when he's done, I want to talk about some policy updates.
So I'll try and keep this short and sweet. I apologize for my appearance. I'm on medical light duty right now, so I figured let's see how the beard goes in. So over our 2.5 days, myself, firefighter Ben Horton, firefighter Mark Bodenbach, we're at Pierce. After 2.5 days, I was sick of looking at fire trucks because they show you from a piece of steel to the whole truck being built. They show you every aspect. They get it in as a piece of steel. Cool. During our roughly 2 days, was going over 12 pages of options. Little things that, as normal consumers, we don't think about in a normal vehicle. We went over every switch location, every latch finish, color, design. And it wasn't just, okay, here are the options. No, let's go out on the floor and take a look at a model that's already done. Let's take a peek at what this department did, or what do they have going on. So throughout that, we had, I can't even tell you how many changes through the 12 pages, call it 24-ish. And it's all little things, again, switch placement. How do we want it set up as a department? That way, main reason I took the 2 firefighters, one, they were on my committee as we started the project. These are the guys that are gonna be using it the next 20 years. They have it laid out what's gonna work for them down the road. And again, we saw hundreds of different options. I mean, you can dream as big as you want. We saw trucks that were going to oil rig fields that had a 4,000 gallon pump and a 4,000 gallon minute monitor that was bigger than the stable to pump the water. That's all its job was. Not even a carrying crew. It was just pump water. With that, in the coming, talking to my vendor every other day here now, probably in a week or so, we're gonna have a meeting with the final paperwork of all the options we changed, just dotting the i's, crossing the t's, and have our package done up by the graphics department. The drawing I have right now is just us playing on a computer and crossing things out left and right, how we want this, how we want that. With that, we are still about a little over $14,000 under budget. Before that, we still have the graphics package coming in. How much it'll be, a lot of it's included, but there were changes. We took big lettering off the side of the truck and changed it to front lettering because it just wasn't matching our trucks. Paint codes cost different amounts of money as you go along. We're trying to match it the best we can to our current trucks. I took the original sample I found from 1992 when our current engine got painted from red to green. Their tech took probably 10 minutes and he still couldn't find a perfect because that paint coat hasn't been used in about 10 years, he said. So it was us going up to the wall, okay, what looks best? It was like Home Depot. So with that, our current plan moving forward is, again, meet with our vendor, go over everything dotted, T's crossed, that way everything's correct the way we did it in Wisconsin. The truck will start being built in end of April-ish. Right now, the target date for us to go back for a final approval is July 6th, that week sometime. During that final approval, it is me, and I'm gonna take 3 guys this time, when we have a firefighter that's very good attention to detail, to go over every inch of that truck to make sure it's right. We saw departments there that took almost the entire department, at least what would be our entire department. They give you a roll of blue painter's tape and you mark what's wrong. And they're right there at the computer, okay, this is wrong, okay, that's wrong. One truck was a red truck that almost turned blue. They were marking every little scratch, every polish mark. Will I notice it all? No, but 3 other sets of eyes want to catch something I don't. So, in that conclusion, is there any questions from the board at this time about where we are at? No, Stu, we didn't go through that, I'm sorry.
I know.
They have 437 colors of red. It was hard to pick one.
I gotta tell you about yellow. About 50 years ago, somebody in the University of Michigan said yellow is this yellow is better than fire engine red. and the world went crazy. The old good red fire truck now is 6,000 colors of yellow.
So on their board,
Painted
they-
red like a real truck.
on their board, they only had about 30 yellows. Their most popular color is red 90, but again, to change that color at this point, we're looking at 30 years down the road until all the trucks are red, or I'll need a question mark of money to get them painted.
Let's keep it under budget.
Exactly.
At one point, we had yellow fire trucks and red DPW trucks. Doesn't fit.
So, do we have an idea when it might be done?
So right now, their target date that we gave them is July. So July 6th is the target date right now, the first week of July. After that, we would go out, do our final inspection. After our final inspection, as long as there are no major issues, and I say inspection while we're out there, we're gonna take it for a test drive. We're gonna run the pump. We're gonna make sure everything works. After that, it's probably a week until it gets shipped to Wixom, to our dealer. We go down, we inspect it again there, just to make sure while it was on the road, nothing happened, a rock caught the windshield, and we gotta replace that. And then it comes to us. A realistic date in my mind right now for the truck to be completely in service with training on a new pump, the foam system, getting guys used to driving it, and finish equipping it. I'd like to see it in service by September.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And you gotta order a ladder truck then.
In a couple hours. Right now, the current price on a ladder is 2.6.
Yeah, I
From
know.
Pierce.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you very
Very much
Thank you.
appreciated.
More to
Thank
come.
you, guys.
Yeah, Shane Kirk for that, heard that one. As a matter of fact, they worked hard to make sure that that popped into the 2026 budget year, just to make sure that, yeah. Okay. Basically, I want to talk about, in your handout, you guys have got some policies that want to get in place in our department. I don't know if you know, we have a standard operating procedure book for policy book that we use. It's due for an overhaul in the next year or so, because we just need to go back through and make sure it still meets our requirements and everything is still the way it's supposed to be, and I think I sign off on it. About every 5 years, we go through this book, the group does as a whole. But there's some things that we're missing the last couple of years, we've had conversation around. And that's what's in your handout. These have actually all been vetted by the lawyer already, so they work with the legal team. One of the ones that's on there is policy 118, social media policy.
I'm sorry, do you know what page you're on?
21, it starts at 21. 25 though. 25 is the social media.
25, got it. Okay, thank you.
You're on 20, yeah, starting there. Social media policy, we don't have one. It's not that I have an issue, but I want to make sure I continue not to have an issue, so we're adopting a social media policy. This has been taken from other organizations, and we just pulled together saying, okay, there's some do's and don'ts around social media, to make sure we protect ourselves, and make sure we protect our firefighters. Here's a social media policy. That's one of the ones that we adopted. The second one is a new one that's being adopted by a lot of departments in the area, and actually around, is instant response policy. In other words, we're expecting people to show up a minimum amount of time. If I have 100 calls, and if you're only showing up for 20 calls, I'm gonna start having a conversation with what's going on in your life, what's happening. When you get down to 10% or 10 calls or whatever, we're gonna start actually taking more action and say, hey, you gotta pick up the pace. You're on this department, we've invested a lot of money in you, we need you guys to be here and support us, so it gives us the ability to say, hey, I got leg to stand up, you're not showing up to say, you need help, because I need to pick the pace up. So, it's actually a very local policy for what we're asking for, but it's a starting point. So that way I wanna get in place as well. And the last one, it's called 120, it's called Code of Ethics. It's actually taken from the National Fire Administration. And what it does, it protects the city, it gives guidance for the group on what you can ethically do, what you cannot ethically do. It gives leadership in the department the same guidance. It even protects the firefighters, because it allows them, what's your voice in this, what can you say and do, it protects them as well. So that's the last policy I want to bring in, and get approved by the board as well.
So at this point, are you asking for our approval? Are you asking
Yes.
just, okay?
Yeah, I'd like to get approval, once I get these approved, I can go ahead and add them to our policy book. And as we do the updates in the next year or so, we'll bring the whole book in and say, okay, we went through this book, and these are the things that are no longer applied, these are the things that need to be updated. But that all goes, once again, that all goes through Christina Wire, and she reviews it, makes sure she agrees it, and legally it's sound.
So do we have the final policy written by her, or are we just?
I do, this is what she went through when she got back to me.
You want us to approve or to continue to have you, we agree with so far? or
I
you
want
final
these to get
approval?
approved so I can actually add them into our existing
I'd
policy.
like to make a motion to give you final approval.
Okay, so actually, just to make sure that we've got the record,
Yeah.
I think we've got 3 different policies here, right?
120.
119 and 118,
Okay.
Approved, 119 and 118 both,
yes.
And 120.
and 120.
So that's your motion, and
Yes, sir.
request
Yes.
approval of those?
118, 119, and 120 approved.
Okay,
I second.
all right. Why don't you do a roll call on that?
Davis,
Yes.
Stempien,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Blount,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Yaki,
Yes.
Cool, this one.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, now I'm going to implement them as opposed to trying to do a chief's letter and look that way.
Thank you for the work on this.
Yeah,
Thank you for,
Thank both of you for the work.
thank you for everything you do every day to keep us all safe.
I got a really good group, and I really got to give them the credit, they're the one doing the job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the city-owned properties, the community center. Bob, you want to take a hike?
I'll make a hike.
Okay, we made a few changes from the last meeting. We came into an issue we thought we better resolve before we have a problem. Instead of putting blown insulation in there, we sprayed the roof of the building. Because the weight on the bottom of the trusses, we're not sure what it can handle. Time you put the purlins on, put steel on, I was a little nervous of that. So I talked to Craig, and he said, do what you think is best. After talking to several other ones, that's what we decided to do. We're still gonna put a ceiling in it, but the weight is on the top of the truss, not on the bottom corner. Because if the building came down, then we got a problem, we didn't want that to happen, so we did that. It should be spray foamed by tomorrow, be all done, spray foamed to the ceiling. The conduit got put in the ground from the meter, the transformers out front of the building, all the way to the back corner, southwest corner of the building is where the meter's gonna set. So you want to see the meter, that's where it went. Scott came out last night, put the meter on the back of the building, put the panel box into it, put the string line through the conduit. Now he wait for, get the permit approved, and once it is okay, then DTE will come and put the wires in. So we're on that line. It's, the 2x7 cords have been ordered, the steel has been ordered for the ceiling. The furnaces are on schedule. We're still pushing for the 13th of December, so we'll hopefully have it up and running by
Scringle
Market.
Market.
Put Scringle Market on that building, so that's where we're at this point.
Great.
Any other questions?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so next we have 9B rezoning parcel. This is the second reading. This is the gas station for 921.
You need another update, reminder?
Sure. So this is for the gas station located at the intersection of Elmont and K-Pac. It is an existing gas station. Gas stations are not permitted in B1. And so something that we're proposing, which is consistent with our master plan, is to rezone it to B3, which does allow for gas stations because we intend that that business should continue to operate.
So this is a second reading. What do you need from us?
to approve the.
Need to vote tonight?
Approve the second reading. So
We can vote tonight?
Publish, yes,
Yes.
and then it will.
I move we rezone the gas station to Z.
Actually, you're, yes. I believe what you're asking is to amend,
Ordinance 6.1.5, or is that 6?
6,
Rezoning to code with.
all right, to rezone, I think what you're saying is to rezone from B1 to B3
Yeah,
for this particular property,
yes,
is that correct?
yes, which is already in place.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Stempien,
Yes.
Cannis,
Yes.
Plum,
Yes.
Yaki,
Yes.
thank you.
So next we have the second reading of the Neighborhood Improvement Authority, which we've been talking about most of the evening. And so this is just a second reading of the proposed NIA. This is, as we've indicated before, not something for us to vote on. It is just a second reading of that NIA. So is there a motion?
I'll move to the second reading of the NIA.
Is there a second?
Support.
Roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Cannis,
Yes.
Plum,
Yes.
Stempien,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Ramirez,
No.
Yaki,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Next, we have new business 10A, trade permit, English City Christian School for the turkey trot.
Again, they're asking for approval of their application.
Any questions for Craig?
I move we approve the permit for the parade for the turkey trot.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. That's approved. Second, citizen from the floor. If anyone would like to come up and speak.
Mindy Stebbins, 180 Walker Street. I just want to touch on what Sarah touched on earlier, and I want to speak for a moment about ethics and public trust. This isn't directed at any one person, it's about the standards we all expect from our local government. When the city considers something as significant as a long-term tax capture district, residents need to have confidence that every vote is coming from a place of neutrality, not personal interest. Even the appearance of a conflict can erode trust, and the Michigan Municipal League and ethics guides are very clear on this. When an official stands to benefit financially or professionally from a decision, even indirectly, the appropriate action is recusal. That includes situations where someone works in a field that directly profits from rising property values or increased development. It also includes situations where a board member owns property in the city but lives elsewhere, or holds multiple positions on tax captured districts. None of that means anything has done something wrong. It simply means that the public deserves transparency and assurance that decisions are being made solely in the community's interest. State ethic guidance is consistent. Public officials should avoid not only actual conflicts, but anything that could be reasonably perceived as one by the people they serve. Because perception matters, trust matters, and transparency matters, most when we're talking about decisions that affect taxes, development, and affordability for the next 20 to 30 years. So I'm asking for one simple thing, that any official who may benefit professionally, financially, or through overlapping roles take the responsible, ethical step of recusing themselves from votes on the NIA at the next meeting. It protects the integrity of the decision, it protects the city, and it protects the public's trust. And it reassures all of us that the choices being made are truly for the good of the whole community. Recusal isn't a punishment, it's a safeguard. And it's how a small town like this builds trust in big decisions.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Is this just for about anything?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I want to talk again. Stacy Palma, 6949 Newark Road, and this is about, they're changing over the Shopco, And I talked to the landlord there, Ivan, because they are working on that retention pond, and they're digging all the dirt from that, making that new drive, and they got it around the retention pond. And my concern I brought up to him, because probably about 6 years ago, there was something wrong with the retention pond, and when they built Shopco, they built it up. So they're like on high level, I'm low level. So any kind of water runs like right into my yard. And I had an issue where it flooded everything, went into my shed, it froze, everything froze, couldn't get in the shed. So I said, I'm just concerned that whatever you guys are doing is right. And he pointed me back to you guys and said, you guys are having them do this. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Well,
He says you guys are making them bigger, but I don't know if the dirt got hauled in. But you guys said that, and this is just what I'm saying, so you don't have to answer me, but you can come back with an answer later, that they want the retention pond bigger.
okay, that's something that we would need to discuss between the city manager, the planner, and the
Okay.
planning commission perhaps.
Right, okay, I just don't want the water to run into my yard again. And we had like a pond basically in my yard.
I'll let the DPW superintendent take a look at that tomorrow.
Yeah, if he could.
If it's bigger, it could be safer.
Right, and I agree with that.
Let's
but
make
they're-
sure we look into
But
that.
they're
That's a-
building up
yeah.
all the dirt, like, towards Shopko way. And
Yeah,
it's low
elevation,
this
yeah.
way,
Yeah, I
where
appreciate
it would
you
run
bringing that
down
up.
into my property. And that's where my concern was.
Yeah.
And I brought up, but he was over there the other day, and we had a really good conversation. And he just said that the planning commission, I thought is what he told me, he said they needed to do this. I might have gotten that wrong. And the next thing is, him and I talked about the fence, because he came over to talk to me about, remember we talked about the fence and stuff? And when he realized how high his property was, how low mine was, they cannot build a fence well enough for, he had the fence guy come over, he said he can't do it. Basically can't do it, but he did offer to maybe do some arborvitaes to block some of the, the truck traffic and the noise. And he said he talked to somebody, I'm not sure who on the board, and I don't know, I guess it was approved with the fence, but the fence isn't really gonna work, so if we could really take another look at that.
We
Yeah.
will, so we can have the DPW director look. I mean, and this is actually really was a planning commission issue.
Right.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
not necessarily a city commission issue.
Okay.
So anyway, but we will look.
We will watch
Yeah,
it.
okay, I
We will watch
appreciate it, yeah.
We will
Yeah,
watch
thank
it.
you.
Yeah, because he was a really nice guy to work with, it's just that, he just realized he was not gonna be able to help me out on any of these issues, so. All right, appreciate it, thank you.
And Craig, we've got her contact information, right?
You know where she lives, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they could do like,
That sounds
he
right.
held it on my door, when he come over to talk to me with the fence guy, he's a nice guy, yeah.
Find a flood.
Huh?
Okay, she came to the planning commission.
Right.
We looked at where her house was on the map. and
Right, right.
We
Yeah.
talked about the fence quite
Right.
extensively, being able to keep the truck light out of her yard and stuff like that. And like I said, we did talk about a fence, but if a fence isn't gonna work, we'll have to go back to the table.
Yeah.
You have a comment?
So that doesn't go back to the planning commission. So the planning commission required a solid fence to be used. The applicant is choosing to go above and beyond and do arborvitae's. That doesn't require reaction by the planning commission to plant more trees. They're not regulatory trees, and that can be a gentleman agreement between the property owner and their neighbor.
Yeah.
And that's my understanding for at least the landscaping along that side. Engineering has been reviewing the engineering plans, and we're waiting for revised plans to address a few minor components of it. But that
Why do
is
we need a
something that's,
pond? Why do we need the pond there?
If for runoff from the parking
because
lot
they're
and all the-
expanding the parking on the south. So
Okay,
it's
a
not a
runoff
parking
pond,
lot
it's
to
not-
the
It's not a
south.
fire pond, it's a runoff.
No, yeah.
No.
Correct.
That's
So they're increasing the paved surface
I
south
didn't know
of the
we needed a
building.
fire pond in town.
And so that's where they need to evaluate there's enough water retention so it does not go onto neighboring properties.
Okay.
But that is something that's math checked, engineer, good to go.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dennis Stites, 6700 Marion. My only question I have for you guys tonight would be, if you would please maybe let there be another I believe the vote for the NIA is on the December 2nd.
That's
Did
the
you say-
anticipated.
Would you guys be open to having another meeting prior to where citizens can address it more? Because obviously, kind of ran out of time.
It's up to him, Mayor.
You're saying to do another, to do.
Yeah, like another-
Question and answer?
Just kind of-
Question and
open
answer,
forum.
and maybe like Tom did everybody did a great job, but another question and answer. Honestly, I think Ian Kemp seems to know quite a lot about this. Well, maybe if he would offer to do the question and answer at the next, prior to the next meeting, that would be great, because he clearly knew
We will
about
certainly
it.
consider it.
Okay, thank you.
Nobody else? Caveat. Just, if we are going to, I was just curious. You don't have
I'm
to
sorry,
answer now.
we need your name.
Hey, oh, 101 Figo, 305 North Main Street, LA City. Okay, talk about rooftop. Are we talking about condo, duplex, single dwelling homes? The reason that is maybe a concern, or not a concern, because it brings a different demographics. It brings in, if you do condo, duplex, you know, is it gonna be for older people, is it gonna be for young people? Because we're talking about now, the federal government's talking about, Donald Trump's talking about, President Donald Trump talking about 50-year loans and so forth, which in the long run will raise house prices even higher. But anyway, so that's the only thing I'm kind of thinking, because we start building for families, duplex and so forth, it's going to enlarge our children at school, the blueprint. And this came through a conversation, not from me, that we had outside. So this was from a conversation I heard. I was like, wow, that is a good question. So maybe if we do have another session where we can ask questions, that might be a good idea. Just throw it out there, let us know. No, you know, MLA City would like to do a combination of these things, or no, we're not going to do duplex condos. We're going to do single families, homes, and residents. We're going to try to keep that small town feeling, but we're going to still improve, and we're going to generate, you know, our growth. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
John Moyer, 175 Campcroft. Okay, like last meeting, I wasn't able to show up in a timely manner because I work. One question I have is when it comes to the NIA, who's actually voting for it? Is this a small group or is this amongst the populace?
I can answer that quickly and tell you that, as was explained, it would be this commission as to decide as to whether they're going to vote for it and implement it or not.
Okay, so it's a...
It cannot be done by the public because we have to follow the state statute.
All right. When it comes to another thing that I agree with, I strongly agree with what Mindy had to say. A lot of this has to do with keeping reputation and honesty within our local government, because of having people on multiple boards can cause a lot of conflict of interest. And there are some things on this NIA plan that I do agree with. There's areas that can be developed, other areas that can be used more properly and get better results in such areas. But the idea that raising taxes when we don't have a raised populace in numbers can be an issue, because this is going off based upon speculation and for an increased amount of time, rather than having a populace come in because they want to be here. If a populace wants to be here, not nearly all this is the situation of the local governments itself, but even national governments. In order for a populace to grow in an area, there'll need to be, of course, a lot smaller number of taxes, businesses that are able to work properly, and stuff like that. People want to be in these areas. Do people want to be in Emily City? I like Emily City, but I'd rather not. But I like where I am for now. But if the county or the NIA wants to develop more land for more people coming in, it's going to need to be people that are wanting to come up here prior to speculating whether people are going to be coming in those lands in the first place. Before me, people need, in other words, people will need to advertise that they want to be here prior to buildings being made. That's pretty much it for you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Then at this point, we do not need a closed session, is that correct?
Correct.
Manager's report?
I have nothing else.
Okay. Commissioner Time, Commissioner Ramirez. Commissioner Duncan.
Thank you, everybody.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, folks.
Okay. Commissioner Blau.
Thank you very much for all coming tonight. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Tanis.
Thank you all for coming.
Commissioner DeLuca.
Just real quick, I know we have a time limit on citizens from the floor for 3 minutes. I know I've been caught in the same situation maybe years ago where I was up there, now I remember talking, and I had 3 minutes, and then I was cut off. And, I mean, I do like the fact that you give extra minutes, that part. But I think, especially with some of these topics that we're gonna come across, you know, from now to years from now, it's gonna take a lot of more time, I guess, speaking about it, to get these points across, and 3 minutes of time is very limited. I was looking at more the idea of just adding a couple more minutes, maybe, you know, have 5 minutes at least, that citizens can talk. But, I mean, that's just something we can look at possibly and as a group maybe decide on.
Yeah.
So, and I guess my last part obviously is certainly appreciate everyone in attendance. Your voices really do count. So, thank you.
Thank you for everyone coming. I really do appreciate the fact that everyone was civil and allowed everyone to be able to say whatever they wanted to say. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. So,
I will adjourn.
second.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.